Hello shearers, I want to talk to you today about the spring effect. This is at Gillespie Farm. Myself and Andrew Hammond were shearing these rather strong, rather kicky Cheviot mules. Brilliant shearing, but you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, kick like hell, and good fun, good fun. So it was after this, as Andrew said, it was himself that came up with the saying, the spring effect. They're like a spring. The more you push down on the sheep, the harder it springs back up. So if you just push a little bit, you're not having much resistance. If you push a lot, like a jack in the box. Same happens when you pull it, same as a spring. You pull the spring out, it wants to come back. Doing that with the sheep. So you've got 4 areas in the sheep where this is really common. We'll get back to that. But what's important, and a big mistake for probably reasonably experienced, and I do it too, you'll see it in the video, is at times the sheep's just out of position, we give it a little bit too much pressure, and then you seem to get stuck because you start putting more pressure on it and you can't get your feet moving. Then when you do, because you've released the pressure off the sheep, it springs back at you, and then it's all over the place, you've got control issues, it's all about control. So one of the areas is the belly, just setting up really. You can still feel a bit of pressure after you've got the leg through, but a lot of that is just within setting up the sheep correctly. The second one I would say is common is the neck. People put way too much pressure when they're putting that first blow in at the neck. Long blow, where I am now, a lot of people like to get right down on the sheep and they put too much weight on. When you take your weight up off, that's when you get in trouble. And of course, the last side, latter part here, put too much pressure down there and it's going to kick and slip out. And these sheep like to kick and like to slip out on that last side. Okay, so we'll go over the belly first on the spring effect. If you have a look here, sometimes I grab both legs, but you're better to grab it in here between the brisket, on the neck, somewhere down this side. This stops its head swinging out. If you've got your hand on its leg, sometimes it's trickier to keep that head from coming out to the side here. This breed of sheep, you want to try and keep its head tucked in underneath you. You see it's resting against my arm there because it's actually straining back, it's straining to the side. So we need to get this relaxed. It's important to breathe so that you're relaxed and you put the sheep into this position, this next position for the belly, as easy as possible, okay? We don't want to burn a lot of energy before we start. See, I gave it a little kick round to it, so I got it in position. I brought my knee up, just bring that back. If you just keep your eye on my knee here, bring it up, brought my leg up and round and down. That's so I get a little grip on the edge of the shoulder there, so its head is least likely to flap out. Okay, it's also at the same time it's created space so that I can push that leg back in there without it straining too much, because you don't want that leg, you don't want to force that leg in there. If you force it in there, the sheep's leg's going to be here and it's going to be straining really hard against you. Okay, so if you can get it in gentle, a little easier, not a great deal of force, it's not going to be straining as hard. Also, if you find you're doing it fairly gentle and it's still straining, there's other ways. You might want to bring your feet a little bit closer in, a little bit further forward. That'll get you over the top of your sheep and it won't be pushing on you as much. The other thing that we can do is when we put this leg in, if we actually put it behind your bum but point it out that way, it will come back this way, but it won't have as much strain in it. Okay, so that's a couple of things that you can do in the belly to help, stopping it getting that strain against you. Okay, I'll pause here. We need to straighten this leg out So it's important that we don't push it down too hard. We're going to burn a lot of energy trying to do that. So just push yourself over. I think there's a clip where you'll see me just give the sheep a little push over just to straighten it out so I can carry on with my blows by putting your body over that way, yeah? Second area that I discussed about the spring effect is stepping up the neck, actually doing that first blow in the neck. So a lot of people get their hand underneath the chin of the sheep and they're really wanting to stretch it all out. And when you're doing that, you're creating, as we say, the spring effect again, you're creating it to push back on you. So it starts kicking, its legs slip out and you can end up in a bit of bother there. You can lose a lot of control. So it's important that you only just pull its head out that last minute. So the idea is when you come in here, it's a curve, round like this to get under the chin. So you come like this, yeah? Nice and loose with the hand. There we go, curved up and round and under the chin. So it's only its head's just back just for that split second. You've not stretched it. It's also made your blow shorter, but you've not stretched it right out. Okay, coming up to a long blow, you don't want to be right down on your sheep. A lot of people are all the way down, putting an awful lot of pressure in the sheep. You see I do it now and again in these, maybe later in the video, and ends up in more trouble because that's a key area. Once you're down there, you can't move, your feet are stuck. If you feel that sheep's going to go, you end up pushing further down, something you want to actually try and keep up off it from the start. If you get yourself right down in there, then it's going to be hard for when you step over its legs. That there. I'm touching it here, but I'm not curling up with too much pressure. You really only want to pull that in when on your last couple of blows. Same in the last side. So you want to open up your chest, lean forward. See, she's just kicked and wriggled out there. Rather than pressing down on her, I just adjusted my feet and kept her upright.